Namaste. In this series of classes about the different chakras, the energy centers in the body, today we'll be looking at the final couple. So we have Sahaswara chakra right at the top, the crown chakra, and Ajna chakra, the brow chakra, the next one's down. And these two energy centers are a little more difficult to work with in the physical body. The crown chakra, strictly speaking, not a chakra because it's not in the body. It's situated just above the head. And this is the energy center which is said to connect us to the spiritual realm. So something bigger than us, greater than us in whatever way that resonates with you. Sahaswara means 1,000-petal lotus blossom, and the symbol for it is this beautiful indigo-colored lotus flower with this multitude of petals. Imagine something opening up and blossoming in as full a way as it possibly could. If we come down to the brow chakra, this is the sixth energy center in the body. So the final energy center in our physical body as we know it. Ajna means control, and it's known as the control center, the master, the seat of the master, or the guru chakra. Everything comes together at this point. So if we think about Kundalini energy, this energy which is said to sit at the base of our spine, that we're trying to build and rise and move up, heightening our spiritual awareness, the level that we're functioning on as human beings, then everything comes together at the Ajna chakra, this third eye point. So just between the eyebrow center and a little bit behind, in the center of the brain, this chakra is located. So that's what we're going to be working with today. Much more meditative practice than physical practice. I want you to start from seated. Make sure you have a couple of blocks or a pile of books or maybe a chair and something comfortable to sit on to lift you up. So a block with a blanket or maybe a cushion. I've got a meditation cushion, as we'll be spending quite a bit of time sitting. So come to a comfortable way of sitting. That might be on a chair for you. It might be with the legs outstretched or in kneeling, or it could be cross-legged. And I'd like you to take one of these mudras that I'm going to offer you. So 3 different mudras. These are shapes we can make with our body to form energetic circuits. The first one is Hakini Mudra. This is when we tent all of our fingers together and press the fingertips together. And you see people taking this mudra naturally when they want to think about something. And you can either bring your index finger to the third eye or the thumbs to the third eye to help energize and focus the awareness, the concentration there. Second option, if that's uncomfortable or you don't want to take that mudra, is Ajna Mudra. And this is the classic sort of chin mudra where you touch the forefinger and thumb together and place the hands down on the knees or on top of the thighs, but turned upright. So very opening, receiving gesture. The 3 extra fingers are extended and you bring that into a meditation position. The third mudra I want to offer you, you can take it with one of these hand gestures or on its own, is Shambhavi Mudra. This is where we gaze up at the third eye. So if you imagine your eyes and the third eye, the point between the eyebrows, form a triangle, with your eyes lightly closed, you're trying to gaze up at this top of the triangle, the point between the third eye. So effectively you're going cross-eyed and looking up. It's not for everyone, and you could try it for a while. If you feel any strain of the eyes, rest and then try it again, because like anything, we've got to build the muscles up to doing these things in yoga we're not always used to doing. So choosing one or more of these mudras and sitting comfortably. I want you to take a few nice deep centering breaths before we begin our practice. Letting the breath come in and out of the body. Can you invite it today to come into the brain? So imagine you could breathe in through your eyes or in through this third eye point, the Ajna chakra, directing the breath up high into the body. That's where we want our awareness. And I'd like you to ask yourself a question that you want answered. It could be about anything at all, perhaps something that's going on in your life that you're not sure about what you should do, perhaps a decision regarding your future, direction, of employment, relationships, living, anything that comes to you that you have been looking for an answer for. Usually the first thing that comes to mind is what you should go for, but settle on a question, and we're not looking for answers at this stage, just want you to think about a question. And then take 3 or 4 more deliberate breaths into this third eye center. So perhaps using Hakini Mudra, perhaps with Agnya Mudra, perhaps Shambhavi Mudra, where the eyes are gazing up at this third eye point. Nice, deep, slow breaths. And releasing and relaxing down. So these energy centers very much connected with coming inwards into ourselves, the third eye representing our sixth sense, our intuition. And we want to develop that throughout the practice today. We're going to start with some eye movements because it's very hard, as I said, to physically connect with these energy centers, but the eyes are up close to it, and moving them around, we can start to engage this part of our brain and get the upper body functioning. So I'm going to talk you through this sequence. I want you to, again, be sitting comfortably and change the cross of your leg if you've been sat for a while already. And we're going to open the eyes in a moment and imagine there's a giant clock face in front of us. And the numbers of the clock are right at the edge of our peripheral vision. And we're going to gaze at each number in turn as we look deliberately from one number to the next, all around the clock face in a big circle. And we're going to hold our breath while we do that. Of course, if holding the breath isn't right for you, then you relax. Take a light breath until I say release the breath and breathe out, and then take a big exhale. See how you go with this. So comfortable seated position. You can have Ajna chakra or you can have the hands relaxed however you want to. Closing the eyes lightly. Take a deep breath in and out through the nose if that's okay with you. And then inhaling nice and deeply. Holding the breath, open the eyes, gaze up at number 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Close your eyes, exhale, release the breath fully. Take a couple of recovery breaths, in and out, nice and relaxed. And we'll try that again, this time going in the opposite direction around the clock. So nice deep breath in and out to prepare. And then big inhale. Holding the breath right at the top, open the eyes, gaze at 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. Close the eyes, breathe out. Release the breath, let it go. Take a couple of natural breaths, not thinking about how deep they are, how you're taking them. We're going to do a couple of other actions with the eyes. So I want you to take a focus at something in the distance, on the wall or out of the window ahead of you, and then bring one of your forefingers in front of your nose, just to the point where it's about to start getting blurry. We're going to close our eyes gently. Inhale, exhale to prepare. Inhale, take a lovely deep breath in, hold it at the top, open your eyes, look at your finger, then the point on the wall, finger, away into the distance, finger, distance, close, distance, close, distance, close, close the eyes, release the breath, let it go. I'm going to do that with the opposite finger now. So holding the opposite forefinger in front of the nose, you can bring it a little closer if you want to. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Lovely big inhale. Hold the breath at the top of the inhale, open the eyes, gaze at the finger into the distance. Close, distant, close, distant, close, distant. Flick your gaze between the 2 points, fast as you can now, and then closing your eyes, release the breath, relax. Good. So you might feel the work on your eyes, get those eyes going, really good for the eye muscles and improving your vision, your sight. So allow the eyes to be gently closed whilst you release and relax. Now I want you to lift the fingers and gently pitter-patter all over the skull so that you're aware of the sound and the sensation of the vibration. Make sure that you tap the fingers lightly over the forehead, around the temples, and particularly on that third eye center, as well as over the crown of the head, around that crown chakra too. Energizing, waking up brain, releasing the hands. And then we want to stimulate the pineal gland that the third eye is so connected with. And we're going to roll around on our base, so with the hands resting lightly on the thighs. You don't have to be cross-legged for this, but rolling around, as well as stimulating the root chakra in this way. We can also think about the third eye, so maybe closing your eyes as you do this, pausing and then going the other way, that it's Sahaswara, the crown chakra, and the third eye, the brow chakra, that we are stimulating. And pausing, coming to stillness. And then we're going to come onto all fours, find your blocks or a pile of books, whichever is going to work for you. And bring your hands either side of your blocks. Have the blocks or a pile of books on the quite a low level, and bring your forearms down onto the floor so that you can rest your forehead down onto the bricks, and adjust your knees so that you've got a nice long straight back. Get used to the idea of this third eye touching the blocks. And you can gently rock the head from side to side here to give your brow a little massage. This is quite nice to do if you've ever got a headache. Massaging across the eyebrows, that third eye point coming in contact with your bricks or blocks or books. And then we're going to try and keep the connection with the third eye as we go into downward facing dog. Don't worry if the forehead comes away from the bricks here as we set up the position. If you don't want to take down dog, keep the blocks at this the same height. Reach your hands forward, hips up in the air, and work on melting your heart down to the floor. If you want to drop the blocks down lower, you can do. For downward facing dog, I would suggest starting with the blocks a little bit higher. You can adjust them. Have the hands a little way in front of the blocks. Tuck the toes under, inhale, exhale, lift the hips. And walk the feet in and adjust the hands so that you're in the right place to bring that Ajna chakra, the third eye center, onto your bricks. And you can bend the knees and straighten the knees. You can walk out your down dog, bending one knee then the other. Close your eyes as much as you want to during this practice to really make the focus up in your head. Using Shambhavi Mudra whenever you want to, that gazing up to the third eye. Nice, deep, slow breaths. And then everyone coming together in kneeling. Maybe taking the blocks away or going down to one block or book on the floor. Going to come to child pose. So allow the knees to widen, the hips to sink back, and again a little bit of adjustment to get your block in the right position to bring the brow down onto the floor. If you want to, moving the blocks out of the way altogether so that you've got contact with that third eye, and the hands can be forward or back against the feet so that the arms are alongside the body. Up to you, where is comfortable. And child pose is ideal for this inward looking, inward energy. So allowing yourself to release and relax here. Coming inside to look for that inner voice, that sixth sense today. Connecting with reality in the sense what is really going on, not what's presented to you or what other people are telling you is happening, but really finding your truth in the world. And then rising up again, we're going to do a flow between a connection with the third eye and the earth or the block, and a more upright, lifted position. If you can't sit comfortably on your knees and rise up onto your knees, then perhaps you could take an alternative seated posture, and you might need to bring the blocks a little higher so that you can make contact. So you could do this cross-legged or legs out in front. Otherwise, come to kneeling. And we're going to take the palms together in Anjali Mudra, our prayer mudra, and touch the knuckle of the thumb to the third eye. Take a nice breath as you inhale, rise up, whether that's to high kneeling or sitting up, lifting the hands and lifting the gaze up into the sky. As you exhale, the hands come together, the thumb comes in front of the third eye, and you bow down, touching the earth or the block. So the inhale, we're going to rise up, lifting the hands as high as is right for you, maybe the gaze too. On the exhale, we bring the third eye in contact with our hand and the earth or the block. So flowing a couple more times in your own breath length. Again, closing the eyes if that's okay for you. Trying to trust how you want to make these movements, because we're looking for this inner knowledge today. And then pushing the blocks to the front of your mat for now. Going to come to all fours, tabletop pose, and get the energy stirred up a little with some Shakti rolls. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We'll start with cat-cow pose, so nice flat back, inhaling. On the exhale, draw the belly up, round the spine, drop the head. And as you inhale, let the belly fall towards the floor, lift the heart and lift the head, lift that gaze forward for cow pose. So a couple of them. And then as you're moving from your cat to your cow, I want you to feel the idea of a roll coming into your body, so that you start making these circles with your belly. Maybe drawing back and then forward, or forward then back. Depends how you've started moving. And you can stay on all fours, or after a few rolls you might tuck your toes and start lifting the knees off the floor. Keeping those circles going, perhaps coming back into down dog and forward to plank before taking your knees back to the floor. So circling around a few times, and when you get the urge, when you get the feeling, pausing and then seeing if you can reverse the movement. So coming in your own way into Shakti circles, thinking about the third eye and how we're moving that area around. Good stuff. And then walking the feet and the hands closer together, bowing down into a forward fold. Find your blocks and stack them. Let's start on the highest height that you have, so the highest option of the blocks. And bending your knees generously, bring your forehead down towards the blocks. If they're not there, you might want to take a chair or come to a bed. And if your forehead won't reach down to them, you can always take the crown of your head down. So this Sahaswara chakra today is also included in the practice. So when you find contact in your way, we're going to press down into those feet. I suggest hip width apart for stability. Bend the knees on the inhale and lift the hips, bow the head down on the exhale. You might want to hold on to the blocks while you're doing this, or your legs, or the side of the chair if you're using one. And after a few breaths, maybe you can begin to take the blocks down to a lower level. Don't worry if that's not going to happen for you today. You can keep bending and straightening the legs. Use the breath to work slowly and carefully into your forward folds. One more bow. And then pressing down into the feet, rise up on an inhale, lifting the arms if you want to at the end of that inhale, and bringing the hands in front of the heart on the exhale. And coming into Tadasana, our mountain pose. Letting the energy settle here. Taking your blocks and placing them a bit wider than your feet. Come to the front of your mat. And we're going to do pyramid pose where we bow over the front leg. So to start with, let's take a big step back on our left foot. So we leave the right foot at the front of the mat. Make sure that you've still got the legs in train tracks, not tightrope, one behind the other. We want to be nice and stable. And we'll come into this through warrior one. So hands on your hips, that will help you make sure that hips are facing forward, elbows are going out to the side. If one's in front of the other, then shift those hips around. We're going to inhale, nice and tall, breathe out through the crown of the head as you're lifting up. And exhale, bend that front knee to come into a warrior one type stance. You might want to shift the feet so that ideally that front knee is straight over the front ankle. Tuck the tailbone under, lift the tummy, nice length in the spine. Good. So from here, we're going to bow down over our blocks. Bring the hands down with a bent knee and find your blocks or bricks or whatever you're using for stability, could be the front of a chair, and find a comfortable place for them to be either side of that front foot. So we're going to inhale here with a bent front knee. As we exhale, we straighten that front leg. So let's draw that right hip back and bow down towards the leg. Inhale to release from the posture. Keep going like that. So each exhale, we're looking to bow down a little lower. On the inhale, we give the opportunity to lengthen the spine, the crown reaching away from the hips. And on the exhale, the crown of the head stretches towards the floor as the third eye, the brow chakra, reaches towards that leg. So breathing in and out, use your breath. Final couple of bows now, trying to keep a nice long spine as best you can when you bow. And then to rise up, we're going to bend that front knee, press into the front foot, lift the hands. You can bring them back onto the hips or lift them up. Keep that front knee bent and you're back in your warrior one position. Feel powerful, feel strong here. Feel that connection between earth and whatever is beyond. The universe, the divine, reaching up into the sky. Lovely. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, step forward and bring the hands down by your sides. Take a couple of breaths before we do the other side. This time we'll be stepping back on the right foot, leaving the left leg at the front of the mat. Again, shift around so that you feel nice and stable in this position. That back foot is at a little bit of an angle and we're in a warrior one type stance. Hands start on the hips. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, bend the front knee. Good. Reach down for your blocks. Try and keep these hips facing the front. So the inhale is going to be taken here. Think about a long neck and a long spine. The exhale, we're drawing the hips back, straightening the front leg and bowing towards it. Make it gentle to start with, and then we're gradually working into deepening this, releasing on the inhale, bending the knee. Exhale is the bow, really taking the left hip back to keep those hips both facing the front. Left hip will want to creep forward. You've got to really draw that left hip back. Each inhale is an opportunity to lengthen the spine. Each exhale, keep that long straight spine as you bow a little deeper. One more big bow here. Good. And then bend the front knee, press into the front foot, hands coming back to the hips or lifting into the air in your warrior one. Can you keep yourself grounded whilst we reach for the stars? Maybe gazing up at the sky. Inhaling here, straighten the front leg. Exhale, stepping forward, bringing the hands down by your side. Come back into mountain pose. So we have to be aware that energizing these high up chakras is to be done with caution, and people who spend too much of their time trying to get up into these spiritual realms, it can result in hallucinations, mental health issues. It's not somewhere where we can function as an everyday human being householder at the same time. So important to keep this groundedness as well as trying to lift our energy up. Now I want to work a little bit on balance and trust. So put your blocks just to the side of your mat for the moment and come to standing near a wall or a chair, something you can reach out and touch the wall for a little bit of reassurance here. And I want you to close your eyes, ground down into both feet and see how this feels. Now this in itself, closing the eyes whilst you're standing up, can make some people feel dizzy or woozy, so just take it steady. We've got the wall nearby for that bit of reassurance if you want to reach out and touch it. And with feet about hip width apart, on the inhale I want you to lift your heels and come up onto your toes with the eyes closed if you can, and then exhale slowly down. And keep this going. I want you to imagine there's a magnet at the top of your head drawing you up towards the ceiling, and then slowly that magnet lets go and gradually you can come back down to the floor. So you could come high up on your toes, or these could be tiny movements. If you feel confident, you could stay up on your tiptoes for a breath, waiting for the exhale and the next inhale, and then coming down again. Trusting your intuition to draw you up and bring you back down again. One more breath. Arriving back onto the floor. Good. So developing that idea a little bit, you're welcome to do the next balance with your eyes closed, partially closed, so you've got them sort of half closed, or totally open if you need to. Again, you've got the wall nearby or a chair if you want to have that extra security of something to reach out to. And we're going to take our weight into our left foot, a little bit of a bend in that left knee, and take the right foot behind us. So you might be able to catch hold of the right foot or ankle, or perhaps hold onto your the leg of your trousers or leggings. Don't worry if you can't reach, point towards that right foot. And we want to draw the knee down and back. So it's easy sometimes in these balances for the leg to come out to the side. Really want it to be directly under the hip and pulling the knee down and back. Nice long tall spine, and you should start feeling a stretch of the quad muscles, the front of the thigh. Again, you've got the wall there to reach out to if you want to, or if you feel nice and stable, you can lift the left hand into the air. So reaching up to the sky whilst standing on the ground. Testing your trust, your intuition, your self-awareness, maybe with closed eyes. One more big breath, taking the knee further back. Feel the front body opening into a stretch, and then release and come back down again. So if it was useful having something to balance against, repositioning yourself so that you can reach out now as we take our weight into our right foot. You might want to reach out with the right hand and then lift the left foot. Let yourself have time to establish yourself in that balance, in the space. Decide whether you can reach back to the foot or you're pointing back to the foot. And then seeing if the eyes can close as you start to draw that left knee down and back, feeling a quad stretch. You'll know when you're doing the work that's needed, and breathing into it. Keep the tailbone tucked, keep the tummy lifted, keep the breath going. Maybe you lift the right hand up into the sky, reaching up through the fingertips whilst that knee is drawing down and back. The right foot planted firmly on the earth. Nice big breaths. Looking for that full front body stretch now, taking the knee back for the final inhale and releasing everything down on the exhale. Lovely. So come back to your mat if you moved off of it for that. Turn to the side where your blocks are, and I suggest start with your blocks being placed on the highest level and take a big stride. Nice wide stride. Outside edges of the feet parallel to each other, toes pointing towards the wide edge of the mat. You can always heel toe in and out whilst we're in this posture. We're going to work on a wide-legged forward fold. So thinking about bending forward from your hip crease, maybe hands can start on your hips for this. And we're going to inhale length in the spine, exhale halfway, so bowing halfway, maybe taking the hands out to the side, get some extra work in the back if that's right for you. Inhale here, exhale, fold forward and find your blocks. So bring the hands down onto them first of all. If you've got any blood pressure issues and you don't want to stay in an inverted position with the head below the heart, then working here, lifting up onto fingers and lifting the head higher and then bowing down. If you can go comfortably lower, then perhaps you can position your blocks in such a way that you can bring the crown of your head down onto your blocks. And when you get to a position, if you can get to a position where you can do that, then you can bend the knees, inhale, straighten the legs, and exhale. And with every exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. So maybe bringing your blocks into a slightly lower position by configuring them differently. Maybe taking one block away and working with a single block. And remember, you can heel toe the feet in or out, bringing the crown of the head in contact with something and then releasing away from it again. And for the last few breaths, you might want to stay with Sahaswara chakra in contact with the blocks or with the floor if you're there. Nice deep slow breath. Make your final bow, your final offering in this position, a nice big exhale. And then bending the knees generously, move the blocks out of the way for now. Walk the hands around to the front of your mat, going into a sort of runner's lunge position. Step back and bring yourself down to kneeling and rest in child pose. If you like the feeling of the connection with the floor and your forehead doesn't come down to the floor, grab a block. Press down into the block. And you can stay in child pose for a few breaths, or you could try rabbit. This is one of the postures where you can come right onto the crown of your head without being actually in a headstand, which we won't be doing today. So to come into rabbit pose, if you want to try it, you need the knees and the feet close together, touching. You bow the head down and you hold on to your heels or the soles of your feet with your hands. Let the chin be really tucked under so that the forehead comes down onto the floor. And then if you want to deepen this pose, lift the hips up into the air to make your rabbit. So we're looking for a stretch along the back of the body, the crown of the head touching the floor. Nice deep breaths. And then slowly releasing out. Take your time coming upright in case you feel dizzy. Let the energy settle as you consider which of these inversions you would like to try. So I'm going to offer you a few different options. You're welcome to come into a shoulder stand with me. We're going to do half shoulder stand and I'll show you how to extend it up into a fuller shoulder stand. If you know that you don't want to do that, or you've got any blood pressure issues, eye issues, neck, shoulder issues, far better to take legs up the wall. So you can go ahead with that if you want to. Otherwise, I'll quickly show you. You scooch over as close as you can to a wall and place the feet up the wall so that you've got that lovely inversion, but the head and the heart stay the same level. To come into a half shoulder stand or a full shoulder stand, I like to roll into it, use the forearms to push myself up and then catch my hips. A half shoulder stand, plenty of the upper back is still on the floor and the legs are at an angle, so they're pointing behind you. To come into a full shoulder stand, you want to start walking your hands up your back. Draw your elbows in closer together and bring your feet up above the shoulders. Spread the toes and press the soles of the feet up towards the sky. So this is far more upright, requires more effort, it's more constrictive in the throat area. So do what's right for you. You don't need to be in a full shoulder stand. You can take that half shoulder stand option or legs up against the wall. And we're going to stay here for a little while. If and when you want to come out of the shoulder stand options, do bend your knees, use your forearms as brakes and roll out and come to a lying position. So taking whichever of those options you prefer now. Ajna chakra, the crown chakra, governs the pituitary and the pineal glands. And these are the most important glands in the body that regulate and stimulate all of the other glands that produce different hormones. When we come into an inversion like this, we're really stimulating the pineal and the pituitary gland and bringing about balance. So the whole of the endocrine system provides this chemical communication network that controls a large number of our physiological processes. And that is why this pineal gland connected with the third eye center is often called the command gland. It's the command center of the whole rest of the body, the conductor of the orchestra, if you like. And amongst the hormones that the pineal gland produces are serotonin and melatonin, which are really important to our happiness and also our sleep. So all of these postures really helping balance how we feel and how well we sleep. So if your legs up the wall, you're welcome to stay in that pose. If you're in a shoulder stand and you haven't already come out, I would like to suggest you bend your knees, use your arms as brakes to come back down onto the floor and take a supine position where your head is level with your heart. So our classic Shavasana, or you could do knees bent, feet flat on the floor in our constructive rest. And you're welcome to come to either of those options if you don't want to stay in legs up the wall as well. Taking a few slow recovery breaths here, letting the energy settle, letting the jaw release and relax. Let the shoulders fall away from the ears. Notice the breath coming into the body, the belly soft, the hips wide and relaxed. Notice your connection with the earth, with the mat or the floor. It's important to recognize this groundedness, to have this connection in order to build and raise the energy up from it. So you are welcome to find yourself a relaxed position in this supine state with the heart and the head level, or very gently and slowly, trying not to disturb your energy too much, maybe keeping your eyes closed if you can, gently rolling onto one side and pressing yourself up to sitting. Find yourself a comfortable meditation posture. And maybe sitting on a cushion or blanket in any way that makes you feel supported, that your spine is upright. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears and either having the hands resting softly in the lap or on the thighs, or taking Ajna Mudra. With the eyes lightly closed, I want you to take some deep, slow breaths. Become aware of the area in between the eyebrows that we call the third eye. Just behind this is a space in the brain, in the center of our skull, that is known as Chittakash. Allow yourself to melt into that place. Chittakash is known as the screen of the third eye. See what you can see here. Some people see colors or swirls, bright points of light, or faces. Familiar faces, or faces of great masters, or somebody you might not have ever seen before. Just noticing what happens, not worrying if nothing appears to you. Perhaps thinking of the color indigo, that deep inky blue color of this energy center. If you wish, you can use Shambhavi Mudra, the eyes looking up to this point in the brain. Perhaps imagining you can breathe through your eye sockets, through the third eye point, directly into this energy center. Keeping the spine nice and straight and upright, chin level with the floor. And if your mind drifts off onto other things, as the mind tends to do, gently bring your awareness back to this energy center, situated behind the third eye. When you have seen anything that is there to see, take a deep breath in and let it go. I'd like you now to visualize the space just above the crown of your head, Sahaswara chakra. And I'd like you to picture a connection with this energy center and the greater power, a higher power in whichever way that image comes to you. I like to imagine like when you see a UFO shining a beam of light down onto the earth, a beam of light connecting with this chakra, this energy space, connecting you to the divine, to the universe, to a higher power in whichever form or image resonates with you. Lifting the Shambhavi mudra of the eyes might help with this connection. As you imagine energy, wisdom, power flowing down into you from this connection. And at this point, I invite you to ask the question that you asked yourself at the beginning of the practice. Softly, gently, quietly listen for a response. You might find it helps to take a mudra, Ajna mudra or Hakini mudra, in order to help your focus and concentration. And don't worry if nothing comes to you at this moment. It might bubble up later in a daydream, when you're asleep, when you're ready to receive the answer to your question. For now, letting this experience go, relaxing any mudra, any effort over the body and the mind. We're going to make the sound connected with these energy centers. Om, the symbol Om, the sign often related to yoga, the symbol of yoga. So thinking of Om as a 3-syllable sound, the A, the U, and the M. Bring your hands together, either at the heart or at the eyebrow center. Take a lovely deep breath in. Feeling the sound resonate within. Twice more. Take a lovely deep breath, inhaling. One final time. Inhaling. And finishing with a bow. Nice deep breath in and taking a bow down to yourself, to this practice. May you see and perceive clearly on every level. May you always seek the truth inside. And may you find this truth. And may it become your lived reality. Namaste.